Hi everybody, Morgana Galaxy here. Welcome to my channel. So glad you're with me today. I want to get to some tarot reading and I want to look at Joe Biden and some of the wonderful things that he's trying to do. Let's see how things are going to go. So, I'm totally excited about this whole infrastructure bill. I'm totally behind it. I read a little bit about it. He's he's claiming he'll be able to pay for this thing within 15 years by increasing the corporate tax rate to 28%. There were a couple other things. Eliminating tax benefits for companies who do business overseas. There was something else. Too, but these few tax changes could pay for this infrastructure within 15 years. Okay. And it really has the potential to change America's path, put us on our road to the future, a good future. We've been needing infrastructure for a long time. So I think I want to do a series of sort of shorter reads on some of these issues. And start with the infrastructure. Show me how this will the infrastructure go as planned? Is Biden gonna roll this thing out as he would like? Is Biden gonna be happy with the infrastructure, with his infrastructure agenda? Let's bring it down. Oh, here we are starting out. Okay, and that's a start. That's a start. Okay, let's see. So, is Biden going to be happy with his infrastructure plan? There's a lot of ways to ask this, but if Biden's happy, I think we're on a good roll. So he's starting out here with the Three of Swords. I know this looks really scary, like, oh no, he's going to be sad. Okay, this is the beginning. So I think this is where he is now. And I think what this is reflecting is, he's looking around at the state of this nation. And this is how he's feeling right here. Bridges, right? I mean, all these bridges and the racial inequality and pollution, the Flint water crisis. New Orleans hasn't been remedied completely yet. Florida's in the midst of an environmental crisis. I mean, levees break, and the storms are only getting worse, right? Every year it's a 100-year storm, hurricanes. So basically, I think this card is telling us that Biden is looking at the nation, at the state of our infrastructure, and it's just like, oh my God, this has to change. This is a travesty for the nation. This is a drain on our future possibilities. This is work that needs to be done, that these are jobs people don't have, careers people don't have, in infrastructure. This is just something that needs to happen that's not happening and hasn't been happening for a long time. I just think that he sees the heartbreak of it. He sees what a tragedy it is for this nation to be in such disrepair. So that's what I think this heart means right here. This is where Biden is and why he's doing this. Okay, what's his biggest challenge is the King of Cups. Interesting, because this is often my Biden card. Here's the King of Cups. So as this challenge, and this is my Biden card, you could say, well, he's going to be his own worst enemy here. He's going to get in his own way. Okay, that could be. I think the challenge here with this cups, because this is all about the emotions, swaying, he's going to have to sway people, bring them on his side. He might have given up on Congress, but he's out there trying to talk to the American people, hard on the sleeve, trying to get them to believe in this infrastructure plan. Right after he just had this huge COVID bill, and now it's infrastructure for even more money, right? So I think he feels like he needs to go out there and sell this, and he's selling it with his heart, okay? Yeah, he'll have to explain the money, but this is about patriotism. This is about love of country. This is about a future for your children, right? So I think that he's using those emotions to, this is his challenge, is selling this to the American people in a way that's going to bring them on his side. Now, by all accounts, infrastructure is very popular. So I think, and this being his card, I think this is a very weak challenge card for Biden in this reading in a good way. So this is a challenge, but it's mitigated. It's mitigated by his abilities to be compassionate with people. This is a strength of his. This is a popular bill. So he feels he has to go out and sell it. It's a challenge, but this isn't a make or break kind of situation. So I think it's a smaller type of challenge for him. All right. So what is he inevitably going to have to face? What's in the sky above him? 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands. Carrying a heavy burden. Yeah, I think he's coming face to face with, okay, the feeling I'm getting here is infrastructure is a can of worms. Okay, yes, he wants to do it big. He's going to do it big, and it needs to be done big because the burden of we have with infrastructure right now is so heavy. Like I was mentioning, it's bridges, it's levees, it's inner cities, it's building codes, it's earthquake retrofitting, it's nuclear energy. He wants to revamp the American waterways. It's the energy grid, right? Oh my God, so much, because everything has been neglected for so long. The burden is heavy. There's so much work to do, But look at this guy. He's willing, isn't he? He's picking up that load and he's breaking his back, but he's willing to carry it. So I think that what Biden's going to come face to face with is, I think he knows how broad and how much work there is to do here. But even so, it's going to be a bit of a surprise, right? It's going to be kind of overwhelming. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be intense. But he's willing to carry that burden. Okay, foundational to this question is the 9 of Wands, the one just prior to the 10 of Wands we just saw. So 9 of Wands, what's foundational to this? It's the same thing. There's so much work to do. I mean, it's foundationally, it's brought, I don't think this is him. I think it's brought us low. We've been kneecapped with the state of our infrastructure right now. We have let it get away from us. It's incomplete. We try and do some work, but we're never done. It's never enough. And we're just exhausted and tired of all the work that goes into that, because it hasn't been supported by Congress. So every little city, every state has to fight and scrimp and save and work and make trade-offs and go subpar and do all these things, just try and get any little thing done. And I think it's just been really, really difficult. And that's kind of foundational to this. This is part of why probably so many people might not be a big fan of this infrastructure project, because it just seems so huge and expensive, and it is. But it's because, like I said, it's been neglected for so long. So fixing it is harder, but it's got to be done. Okay. The past, what energy are we just moving through, or this infrastructure, what's it moving through? Here we have the Moon card. The Moon card. The the feeling that I'm getting from this really is like Katrina and what happened to New Orleans. I think that these huge storms that devastated New Orleans, New Jersey had a really bad one. Just there's been a lot of really serious water related infrastructure issues. And I think especially like New Orleans, right? Katrina, it scared us. It scared us. It really got into our psyche. Okay. It really got into us like, oh, this is serious. This is like no joke. Not only is this infrastructure old and in need of repair, but now it's being challenged like never before with these 100-year storms and hurricanes and, tidal waves and what have you. I think some of these water-related storms, they just scared the bejesus out of the nation. And I think that's this energy actually is going to help make this happen because people are understanding that we've got to fix it. It's got to change. We just can't let cities get washed away. I mean, the Flint water crisis, still not fixed, right? New Orleans, still not whole. That's that I think it's just these, again, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself here, but it's these horrifying water-related events that the nation has gone through has really sunk into the national psyche. And I think that is going to propel this issue and help it actually move. It's moving forward into the energy, but it's going to help it succeed, I hope, I think. Okay. So, outcome, 5 of Wands. This is the energy we're moving into. We have the 5 of Wands. Interesting. So, normally the 5 of Wands is a bunch of, infighting, partisanship, but being reversed, this is telling me that all the normal critics, all the people who would normally fuss and fight, somehow they're going to be silenced. Somehow they're going to just be like, okay, it's got to happen. It's hard for me to say because I know that the GOP is already fussing and fighting over this infrastructure. They're already saying they're not going to support it. Too much money. It doesn't really matter what it is. The GOP is just not going to get behind anything that Biden wants to do at this point. So knowing that, this card is telling me that the partisanship is going to end, that the arguing over this issue is going to end. One way or another, people are going to put down their batons and stop arguing and just kind of come to, I'm not going to say peace because I don't want to go crazy here, but they're just going to put down their batons, stop arguing, and just, okay, we might not totally be united in how we want to do this, but I think there's going to be an agreement that this has to be done. Even if it's not the politicians and it's enough GOP, just regular American people, enough people are going to be like, okay, we need to stop fighting about this. We need to stop hemming and hawing and parsing words and fussing and fighting. We just need to stop. We need to get this done. That is kind of the message that I'm getting from this reversed 5 of Wands here. Okay, so that's infrastructure. So I think that's good. The cards are telling us it's a daunting project. There's so much work to be done. It's our own fault for letting it get this bad. But we've gotten the message already with some of these devastating storms we've endured. And I think, I hope it's not another storm like that, but something is going to shut up the naysayers and allow this to sort of proceed. Allow it to proceed. Okay. So that is infrastructure. Let's talk about guns. Oh my God. So, was it yesterday Biden was given his announcement, given a speech about guns. And there were 2 mass shootings yesterday. Oh, it's just crazy. So, guns. how do we want to word this? So Biden has he made a number of executive orders. How do we want to word this? Are they going to go through? Well, they're executive actions, so they're going to go through. GOP, of course, are going to fuss and fight. Okay, does meaningful gun restrictions come to pass within our near future? Can Biden pass meaningful gun restrictions? Show me Biden's work on guns. Can Biden pass meaningful gun restrictions? Show me the situation for guns. Okay. Guns. Let's bring it down. Oof. Okay, so here we are. Will Biden have success with some meaningful gun restrictions? Okay, so we're starting out with the tower. So to me, this is the 2 mass shootings that happened yesterday and just this last year, these last few years. Like Biden was telling us, there's a crisis of gun violence in this country. This is what this card is telling us. This issue of guns is a crisis. People are dying. This situation is crumbling. It's falling apart. It's not working. We have to change how we're dealing with guns, okay? Because it's not working. It's breaking our foundations. What's the challenge? The challenge is a 2 of Pentacles. So the challenge here is, well, this is exchanging money, juggling money, especially overseas. So this is telling us, and I'm going to bring this back up. This is telling us that a big part of the challenge related to guns is some kind of, it's the money. It's the money trail. There's money changing hands, money transactions. Okay, lobbying. Okay, lobbying. We know the NRA was really strong. Letitia James had her say about that. She tried to disband them. I don't know where they are in that process, but they're certainly not the only gun advocacy group out there. But this is pointing to overseas. And we know the NRA had some Russian ties. But so the challenge here with this gun restriction legislation is money, lobbying, buy-offs, payoffs, money changing hands, juggling the money. This is a challenge to this situation, which tells me it's corruption, okay? Because it's not about, rights or people. It's about money. So that means it's about corruption. Okay. What's in the sky? What's going to have to inevitably be challenged? 5 of Pentacles. So the poverty loss card. So I'm just going to say the feeling that I'm getting with this card is that if you want to, when you're dealing with people interested in guns, not everybody, of course, but there's a group of people interested in guns. Okay, you're looking at criminals, right? You're looking at people who want to use guns for nefarious purposes. Criminals, robbery, gang warfare, murder, what have you. I think that these kinds of people who are feeling outcast, who are feeling impoverished, who are feeling like they're just been expelled from the normal life outcasts. I feel like these sort of people are going to we're going to come face to face with. How do you think about these kind of people? How do you deal with them? So for example, the guns are a huge problem in inner cities, right? People of color, people who are, struggling with poverty, struggling with inequality, lost, no jobs, right? Rundown cities, poor folks, maybe some drug issues, inner city issues. How do you can't, I think, in working to reduce gun violence, in working to enact gun restrictions, they're going to come face to face with how do you deal with some of these types of populations. How, it's not just hunters. There's just an element here of poverty, of the outcasts, of the people who are shunned from society. This is what we're going to have to come face to face with. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. Foundationally, gosh, it's almost like the opposite card. Foundationally, we have the King of Pentacles. Okay, so I think this is your businessman. This is the gun manufacturers, right? These are the people making some bank off of gun manufacturing. It's all about profits, right? The more guns they sell, the more profits they make. Well, the more guns they sell, the more people might die. They don't care. All they care about is their profits. It's that businessman. It's that business mentality. Profits above all. Greed is good, right? This is foundational. And it's interesting because one of Biden's goals, and number one on his wish list, is to remove the ban, I want to call it a ban, but to make these gun manufacturers liable. Right now, that industry cannot be sued, all right? They cannot be sued for the damage and the violence that their guns do. Biden wants to get rid of that. So they are liable for their products. So I think that issue might be, and issues like that might be more foundational to this question than we realize. So again, these are, I would say these are the gun manufacturers and the sellers, the people who make their profits and their money off gun selling. They're foundational to this problem. More pentacles. Oh my goodness. In the past, what energy have we just come through? We have the Three of Pentacles. So I think there's been Three of Pentacles. So these are these groups working together. You've got your gun lobbies, you've got your gun manufacturers, you've got your sellers, all the people doing their shows, your gun enthusiasts, right? All of these groups have really been successful in banding together, supporting each other, and creating the existing gun laws as they wanted. Okay, so all these groups have been working together, they've been cooperating, supporting each other. That's what this card is all about. The cooperation, the support, the working together to create what they wanted to create. That's in the past. That's what we're needing to change. So that was in the past. What's coming in the future? We have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords. So we've got Pentacles, aside from the Tower, let me just bring it back down here. Aside from this Tower telling us everything's crashing down, the foundation's cracking, we need to change how we're doing this with guns. We've got Pentacles, 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 okay? I'm bringing that up because what this is telling us is all about the money. Money, money, money. The people who don't have money, who are suffering with guns. The people who do have money, who are profiting off of these guns. All the people, all these gun-related groups who banded together, supported and cooperated with each other, again, to to make their own types of profit. You know, they're profiting off of how they've created this system together. It's all about the money. But here we are with the end result. We have the Knight of Swords. And so yes, this knight comes in with the sword of truth and justice. It's fast moving, fast acting. There's a lot of change that's coming up. So I think Biden's going to be successful in sort of breaking the status quo, creating change. Things are going to be moving really fast. But the feeling I'm getting here is, even though the intention is good, the vision is there, it might be a little clumsy. Might be a little, they might stumble, okay? It's not going to be smooth sailing. It's going to be, let's say, a rocky terrain, okay? There might be some missteps because everything is moving so fast. Everything's kind of chaotic. Again, with this eagle, the vision's there. The execution might be a little rough. So I think we're going to have some bumpy times following this Biden trying to get this gun legislation passed. Okay, was there anything else I wanted to look at? Let's just do one more quick see. I've read on the filibuster before, but let's just take another quick peek. Stupid Joe Manchin is still insisting he's not going to support any filibuster change. Even Biden is like, hey, just make them stand there and talk themselves to death. Manchin, he's really just putting his foot in it. Okay. Filibuster. Will the filibuster be reformed? Will the filibuster be reformed in any kind of way? Okay, even if it's just Joe Biden's make him stand there and talk. Will the filibuster undergo a reform? Will the filibuster undergo a reform? I'm just going to do a quick 3-card spread. Okay. So will the filibuster undergo a reform? Here we go. Justice. So this is telling us that justice needs to be done here. There's something wrong with the situation how it is. It's unjust. Justice needs to happen here, which is indicating a change needs to be made. The challenge is the 10 of Swords, okay? So betrayal, downfall. And when we have the outcome as the 9 of Wands. So, gosh, what is this looking like to me? This is looking like, so justice is coming to call on this issue with the filibuster. Definitely, they're going to try, make the effort. The effort is going to be made to reform the filibuster in some kind of way. This is not an outcome card. This is a challenge card. So someone is going to be feeling betrayed, or someone's going to be taken out. This is downfall. Is it the effort to reform the filibuster? Or is it those trying to stop it? So with the result, though, we've got the 9 of Wands, which tells me, this 9 of Wands, I guess, is basically telling me it's going to be really hard. It's going to be a tough fight. They're going to get some kind of change, but it's going to be incomplete. Either incomplete, or they're going to have a really hard time finishing it out, doing that last step, doing that final thing, you know, the final piece of work there. You know, they're going to come close, but I don't know if they'll be able to reach completion, but some work has been done. So I guess this is telling me that it's going to be really hard It's going to be really hard, but because of the necessity, some change will happen to the filibuster. It might not be the exact reform everybody really, really wants. It might be a partial refund, a partial refund, a partial change, maybe a targeted change, like the Joe Lewis Voting Rights Act. How they're like, well, let's make that, you can't use a filibuster on anything related to voting. This sort of piecemeal, partial. So I don't think they're going to get everything they want here, but some change is indicated. Some change is indicated. And I wasn't going to do it, but I reminded myself of this Voting Rights Act, and that's a big one that I really, really care about. Is the Voting Rights Act going to pass? John Lewis's Voting Rights Act. I believe they call that H.R. 1. And if Democrats want to hold on to power, they have got to pass this bill and stop all this GOP cheating. Okay, John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Is this going to pass? All right, let's just this will be my last one for this reading. Okay, John Lewis Voting Rights Act. How's it going to pass? So the face of the question, we have the Page of Pentacles. So I think this is the bill here. This bill has been drafted, has been presented, and it's going to come up for a vote. Okay, so the bill in completion is there. It's been presented. The challenge is the Hermit, which means the challenge is going to be, sorry, my cat's distracting me. The challenge is going to be having these people having the chance to, really sort of, the challenge is going to be either support here or just being able to really kind of think it through, maybe bringing it to a vote. The Hermit. I would say is a challenge card. The challenge is that these people there's not support for it. I think that this is just the GOP pushback. They don't want to follow the light, do what's right, think things through. This is, important to this country. We need voting rights. Every American should vote. The more people who vote, the better. Let's all support this. No, I think that there are so many people, so many GOPers in all these states who, all these people who are passing these voting restriction acts, Texas, Georgia, all these people in these state legislatures who are trying to pass these suppression laws, they're going to make it really difficult. There's a fundamental lack of support from political leadership there, and that's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. I think that Democrats are kind of going to feel like they're going it alone, but the outcome is the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. And the feeling I'm getting here is, okay, white suburban voters. So what I'm feeling is women are going to come up and really fight hard for this. The regular, there's going to be a lot of activism here. There's going to be a lot of women supporting this. There's just going to be people, regular citizens, regular everyday people who are going to come up and sort of demand this sort of justice, demand this work be done, demand this sort of integrity, stop all these cockamamie laws, like not being able to give people a bottle of water in line to vote. This kind of thing is going to really charge people up. Again, this is a very feminine card, a lot of female support here. I think might save this. A lot of times the Queen of Wands has been my Nancy Pelosi card. She might have a role to play in this Voting Rights Act. So I'm going to call this not very clear. I'm going to have to ask this question again. Okay, I'll hit that later. And until I do, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. Take good care of yourselves, and I will see you soon, okay? Bye now.